Welcome to practice. We're going to begin laying down. And hands on the belly. Put your feet so they're hip width and parallel and legs are parallel. And neutral position, I say neutral, the legs aren't influencing the shape of the spine. So you can relax your back. And we'll breathe, letting your breath take up space and time in your body. And notice the effect that has and how you feel. Notice too if there's still some tension in your body from the act of laying down on the floor. Just letting yourself be as relaxed as you can. Enjoying that satisfying feeling. Breath. We're going to lift the feet off the floor and press your lower back into the floor. And maybe where your hands are on your belly, you can feel all that abdominal core muscles start to tighten up, to add strength. Good. So keep pressing your back and notice that effect. All right, but we're going to use our hands up. So take the hands straight up from the shoulders. All right, and we're just going to be like a kitten playing with a ball of string and moving the legs and the arms. And the more you move the limb from center, then the harder those muscles in the core of your body have to work. So you work out what the movements are going to be, but really move around. Arms going one direction, legs going the other direction. And try to keep your back compressed on the floor. All right, so we're going to explore that movement of the core body as you move your limb. We want to feel like the core is really stabilizing, but let your movement be playful, fluid, and see if you can keep breathing. As though you're trying to bat off that end of a piece of yarn. Nice. And then put your feet back down and hopefully that feels like you're starting to warm up the core body. We'll put the hands back on the belly. And so the tension that we create to move our limbs, the muscles are contracting to move. You can just let that tension go. Letting your back relax. And then we're just going to stretch the arms overhead and the legs out straight. Nice big long stretch of the body. Stretching feels so good. All right, and then we'll roll over onto all fours. Forward Virasana, big toes touching, knees as wide as you feel you need for your tummy, room for your tummy, chest. And reaching the tailbone back, but the hands forward. And letting the belly lengthen here and relax. Feel the breath, that deeper breath, taking up space in your back, moving the ribs, your lower back. We're going to look forward at the hands, bring the elbows out wide, and we're going to bring the chest just above the floor so that we can lay on the tummy. Legs in about parallel, elbows in, elbows back, and lifting the breastbone. Just lift where you're using your back more than your hands. So you might not be lifting up that high. You might even be able to lift the hands off the floor for a little bit. Good. And then we're going to press back into the hands, up into all fours and arch the spine up. Good. And arch the spine down. We're going to tuck the toes under, lift the knees just off the floor. You can feel again the core body, nice and strong. Beautiful. Downward facing dog pose. I've just walked my feet in a little bit so I can get my heels closer to the floor. And let your head hang down. Finding that long and deep breath. Pressing the heels, lifting the kneecaps, the sit bones. And then we're back into forward virasana. And even though we're going to do that sequence a few times, we're not going to rush ourselves, but enjoy connecting to a long and deep breath. Good. And then looking forward at the hand, elbows bend and out wide so that you bring your chest forward through the hand and lay on your tummy, legs parallel, elbows in, elbows back. Try to lift the breastbone, the rib cage off the floor, and use your back muscle rather than your hands. So maybe the hands even hover just off the floor. Nicely done. Press the hands back down, elbows in, pressing up into all fours. Arch the spine up, arch the spine down. Tuck the toes under, knees lift just off the floor. Stretch your fingers out wide, press your fingerprints. Enjoying that long, deep breath, and then downward facing dog pose. Let your head just hang down. Following your breath, forward virasana. Looking forward at the hand. Bring the chest forward through the arms. Good. On your tummy, elbows in, elbows back. Lifting the ribs off the floor. Be as light in the hands as you can. Squeezing the buttock muscles towards each other. Nice, strong, straight legs. Press the hands, all fours. Arch the spine up. Arch the spine down. Up the toes under, downward facing dog pose. Pressing the heels down towards the floor. Lifting the sit bones, letting the head just hang down now. Feeling that deep breath, satisfying breath. And forward virasana, we're going to do one more of those sequences. Enjoying connecting to that flow of breath. Long, deep breath. Looking forward at the hand. Bring the chest through the hand. Good, lifting the torso. as light as you can in your hands, elbows in, elbows back. Pressing into the hands, up into all fours, arch the spine up, arch the spine down, tuck the toes under, downward facing dog pose. Walk the feet forward a little bit so you can press your heels closer to the floor. Lift the kneecaps, the quadriceps. Let the head just hang down. Press into the fingerprints, the base of the index fingers. Elbows a little bit bent. Good. And here we're going to walk forward. So take little steps and try to get your feet moving. So lift right up onto the ball of the foot before you lift it up. So you feel like you're stretching your toes. When you run out of room, you're going to come up through standing and come to the front of the mat. With your feet under your hips, Tadasana. Roll the upper arms out, arms in. Inhale, arms up. And as you exhale, Uttanasana. We're going to put the hands on the leg and reach the torso forward. So we're not in a full forward bend, but just finding the bones of the spine, embedding into the front of your torso. And enjoying that long and deep breath. We're going to reach the torso from side to side. As you reach to one side, straighten your opposite leg. So if I'm reaching right, I'm straightening the left leg. As I'm reaching left, I'm straightening left. Once more both sides. And then we're going to come back to the center. Good. And then reach your hands further down your legs or onto the floor, even out in front. But see if you can keep that feeling of the spine embedding forward into the front of the torso. Keep the back of the neck long. And then bending your knees and rolling up, arms up, look up. And Tadasana. Nice. Inhaling, taking the arms up, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhaling, Uttanasana. Good. We're going to step the left foot back for Trikonasana. So you have your feet your feet land leg length distance apart. The inner arch of the left foot lining up with the right heel. Lift your torso and keep going until you know you can roll back your left side. And it feels like the left side is now aligned with the legs and feet. You might be lifting up quite a way. And then lifting the kneecap. You feel really strong in your legs and feel your feet. Beautiful. We're going to stretch the arms out from the shoulders, nice and broad across the chest, and then reach back into your Trikonasana. So right hand down onto the right leg and left arm up. And we're going to try and use the leverage of the arm, the left arm, to reach back and feel the left ribs rolling back, the left hip rolling back, the heart shining upward, upward and outward. And breathing. Finding that longer and deep breath as you reach yourself into your posture. Long spine. Keep the shoulders away from the neck. The neck can be long. Beautiful. We're going to inhale and come up to lift the torso, lift the arms. And we're going to bring the hands in front of the heart. Now we're going to try for a preparation for half moon pose. We're going to be balancing on the right leg. And what you're going to do is hop or dance your left leg in a little bit so that you can take your weight on your right leg. And we'll try lifting the left toes off the floor. Now, if you're too wobbly in your balance, just keep your toes on the floor, but try to keep turning back the left hip, the left ribs. See how you go with your balance there. And maybe you just take a few little attempts so I can rock back and forward on that right foot. Maybe you can reach your torso almost parallel to the floor and rolling back the left rib. Great. And what we're going to do from here is step the left foot forward with the right. So we're back at the short end of the mat. Tadasana. Finding that long, satisfying breath. Urdhva Hastasana. Reaching up and looking. Uttanasana. Standing forward bend. We're putting the hands on the floor here to step the right foot back for Trikonasana, triangle pose. So you're stepping back to your own leg length, keeping your right inner arch lining up with your left heel. And we're trying to get straight legs. Now, you'll notice that the torso goes off to the right side. But we're going to lift up. Keep sliding your left hand up, your leg, lift up, lift up, lift up, until you feel like you can get your right hip in a line with your feet and legs, your right ribs. And then we're going to reach the arm from the collarbone and take your left hand down onto your left leg and your right arm up. But we're going to try and keep the torso in an alignment with the legs. They're not leaning forward or out to the right. And then start to reach the leg. Feel the feet content to the floor. Maybe that's the wrong word. Wise to the floor. Lengthening the left rib, lengthening the spine, rolling the right hip back, rolling the right rib back, drawing the shoulder blades to the back waist. We want to get the turn in the hips and the ribs so the neck doesn't have to overstretch. And reaching and finding that satisfying. And then inhaling and coming up. Nice work. Now, what we're going to do is bring the hands in front of the heart. We're going to try and be balancing on the left foot, but we're going to stay facing that long edge of the mat. So step or dance or hop or whatever kind of movement, your right foot in, and we're going to try and balance on that left foot. So you might be just rocking back and forward on the left foot, practicing lifting the foot up, putting the foot down, pressing the hands, drawing the shoulder blades down. Maybe you can balance for a moment and the right leg is starting to lift. We want to face the front of the torso, not to the floor, but opening up towards the sky. So rolling the right hip back, rolling the right rib back. I'm having trouble balancing on this. Ooh. Getting a sense of opening the front of the torso. As many times as you have to. Land back down and lift up again. Beautiful. All right, now from here, we're going to step that right foot forward to the front of the mat. Oh. Tadasana. Okay, we're going to step now so you can face the long edge of your mat or here, so you can still see me. Feet under the hips. Put your hands on your hips. We're going to look at that movement we were just attempting. Let's take the left leg out behind time, so we're facing forward. But we're going to lift the left hip. So, sorry, I should have said your left toe can stay on the floor if you're very wobbly, but try and lift them up if you can. We start off with the hips level to the floor. Then we try and lift the left hip. So I've got my standing leg a little bit bent. So here we are experimenting with that movement we were just trying. So you can feel that the way the hip is working. And then we draw the left hip down so the belly button looks to the right. We're going to try and keep the spine nice and long here. Good. Let's lift the left hip again so the belly button is looking to the left. Keeping the spine long, keeping the shoulder blades reaching back, and keeping a sense of that long, deep breath. Dropping the left hip, looking to the right. Ooh, nice work. And then come up to center. Bring the left foot in front so you're still balanced on your right leg. Ooh. Ah. And we're going to feel around in the air. Whoa, couldn't quite do it. Feel around in the air in front with your left foot. Good. And then all the way around you, all the way around your standing leg. Hard work, I know. All the way around. So I'm moving my foot and my toes like I'm trying to find something in the air. And then come back. Do both feet on the floor. Oh. Nice work. All right, hands at the hips again. We're going to step the right foot back this time. So reach back. Keep your tiptoes on the floor if you need to. Otherwise, we're going to lift them off. Your standing leg, your left leg this time, just a little bit bent. All right, so we're going to lift the right hip. So the belly button's looking to the right, and you can feel that's the movement we were just trying for the half moon pose. Good, and then we're going to draw the right hip down so the belly button is looking left. Nice and stable in the left hip, good. Lifting back up to center, and then lifting the right hip so you're looking right. And dropping the right hip so that the belly button, the chest is looking left. Keep the spine nice and long. Lift up, we're going to do one more each side. Whoa. Back to center, dropping the right hip so the belly is looking to the left. Keep the shoulder blades back, keep the neck nice and long. All right, lifting back to center, bring the right foot forward, and then reaching around with your foot and your toes, trying to find something very special in the air around you. So try to take the foot all the way around the standing leg. So hopefully the standing leg is getting really tired now. Good. And then all the way around to the front, and then feet back underneath the hips. So we're back in Tadasana. Finding again time and space for the breath. Take the arms out from the shoulders. Nice big stretch for the chest. And then we're going to take the right upper arm over the left. And we're aiming to hold the thumb or face the palm. But maybe if it doesn't reach, you can always just embrace your shoulders. So finding your hand hold, and you want to keep your shoulder blade down. So they often want to pop up into the neck space. So draw the shoulder blades down so the neck feels long. And we'll step the feet together. And we're going to bend the knees a little bit and lift up onto the left tip toe. So again, you can keep the tip toes on the floor if you need to for your balance. Or you can try lifting that foot, and we'll pop the left thigh over the right. Some people can tuck their left foot behind the right leg or tuck it in beside. We're going to lift the elbows and looking up a little, draw the shoulder blades down. Feel the core of the body contained, containing, and find that long, deep breath. Garudasana. Beautiful. We're going to release. Try to place your foot intentionally back to hip width and parallel. Nice work. Take the arms out from the shoulders, stretch them out wide. And then we're going to take the right, the left upper arm over the right. Shoulder blades down, back of the neck long, feet together, and bend the knees a little. So now we're up onto the right toe. Feel the core of the body containing organs, containing that energetic center, helping you to balance. Good. Some people can take that right foot up off the floor, so do that. And you might even be able to tuck the thigh, right thigh over the left, and tuck your right foot in beside the left leg. We draw the shoulder blades down, lift the elbows, and looking up. Garudasana. Keep space at the back of the neck. Find that long and satisfying breath. Beautiful. As you release, with intention, place your right foot back from your left. Tadasana. Urdhva Hastasana and Uttanasana, standing forward bend. Bones of the spine embedding forward. And straightening, playing around with that notion, your legs. So that might be one at a time. It might be both together, lifting the kneecaps, the sit bone. Keep the back of the neck long. Finding that deep and satisfying. Beautiful. Now we're going to try and squat a little bit from here. So you're going to lower your sit bones just as far as your knees are comfortable with, but also trying to keep your heels down on the floor. So maybe if the heels pop up when you've just bent a little way and then the heels suddenly spring up, just stop where your heels are still on the floor. So discover where that might be in your body. Make sure your knees are okay. If it really feels like you need to turn your toes out further, you could do that. And then we're going to lift up a little bit from there. Press the heels down. Lift the pelvic floor. Lift the belly and lift the breastbone up, the torso up. Look forward. Good. Now we're going to put the hands down on the floor. Roll the knees forward until you're in a kneeling position with your legs and your toes are tucked under. Good. And then roll back your heels onto the floor, or as close as you can. I'm just going to roll forward and back a little bit, knees to the floor. And then lift the knees and heels to the floor. Try to keep lifting the pelvic floor. One more time. Knees to the floor. And then heels to the floor. Okay, so we're going to sit down, and you might be able to sit from here without falling, or help yourself in your wisdom to sit down and onto a blanket. Okay, we're going to take both legs around to the right side. Bharadvajasana. And the blanket, it moves over so it's just under your left hip bone. And if you feel really unwieldy or you can't sit up straight, it's too uncomfortable in your spine, double the blanket over to give yourself a little bit more height. We want both sides of the spine to feel fairly even. Now, if you have an awkwardness with this twisting movement in the knee, maybe your legs are not going to fold back like that. So you could try to make the angle less and lean back. That might work better in your body. The more compact the legs are to the spine, the more upright the spine is, then the stronger the movement for the leg. I have the top of my left foot in the sole of my right foot, but that's not applicable to everybody. So play it by body to see where it's going to work best for you. The lovely thing about this posture is we really can get a big stretch for the belly. So we're going to try and do that and take the left ribs back and lean back. Start to feel the skin, the muscle of the belly from the right hip to the left ribs stretching. Good, draw the shoulder blades down. Neck is nice and long. And then we're going to incorporate the breath. Utilizing that space that's left in the body when you exhale. Ooh, so you can really turn. Right, so I'm hoping you can feel a stretch somewhere in the abdomen. And then you can even try to keep the turn, but lift the torso back up to upright. And we're following the breath. Beautiful. Now we're going to add a little bit more to that pose. Just relax. Take your left arm behind you, and you're going to try and hold your right upper arm. Now, if you can't, just reach your left arm as far as you can and hold onto your t-shirt behind you. And if you've got hold of your right upper arm, then you can bring your right hand back to your left leg. And so we're going to turn again, trying to get that feeling back into the belly. But you'll notice how the upper back is more of a back bend. See? Finding your breath. Good, and then releasing. And then we're going to swap the legs to the second side. So you want to put your blanket under just your right hip bone. It might be different on this side, depending on your knees, but giving yourself room. So you might need to be leaned back with the legs not at such an extreme angle, but you can still get that nice turn for the abdomen. All right, so the more compact the feet are into the hip, the stronger the movement for the leg. All right, let's try and stretch the belly to begin with. So left hand on the right leg and turning the ribs to the right. If you lean back, there's just more room to get the belly to move. So we're trying to stretch from the left hip to the right rib, so drawing the right rib back. Ooh, breathing deeply. Utilizing the space. As you exhale, there's a little bit more room to move. Very nice. Now see if you can walk the right hand in. Keep that nice big turn you found, but bring the torso more upright, more perpendicular to the floor. Finding the breath, that room to move. Great. Now, we're going to try to keep the turn, but we're going to release the arm and try that arm bind. Right arm is going to reach behind, and you're going to try and take hold of your left upper arm. So if you can't quite reach it, hold on to your t-shirt. Left hand is going to reach across towards the outside of your right leg. So now we're bringing the spine forward. Ooh, nice. See if you can find your abdominal twist again. Finding the breath. And release. We're going to like. Take the arms straight out from the shoulders, inside edges of the feet together, legs together. Cross your left thigh over your right. Lift your hips, swing them left, and then the legs are going to go right. I'm going to look back over the left. You can close your eyes. Notice any feeling of holding body. Sometimes it's there to protect us. Sometimes it's just an accumulation of needing to hold tension. So notice if it's something you can let go of. Before you start to lift your legs, really think about the core of the body. So you feel like you have plenty of support to lift the legs and cross them the other way. Lift the hips, swing them right, and knees go left. Right shoulder blade stays down. Turn your head in that direction of the right arm. Covering where you can find tension, appreciate it. But also maybe there's some that you can let go. Sometimes the floor twist might feel strong, maybe to one side. You can always put a blanket under your knee. Before you start to lift up, really employ the whole core of your body. So your legs feel like there's a lot of support lifting them. It's not just the spine. Good. Come back to center. Hug your knees into your chest and rock from side to side. Now, that rocking is such a lovely feeling. It massages around the sacrum, but also you might notice if you rock from side to side, it starts to walk the lower back longer and longer, bringing your back body closer to the floor, the earth. And then if you put your feet down and you lift your hips just ever so slightly off the floor, you can slide on the skin of your back, your head away from your feet. And then your upper back is long also. And then you let your weight, give your weight back to the floor. Notice how your spine feels. Finding that long and deep breath. If you'd like to stay for Shavasana, put your legs out, squeeze straight. You need to finish your practice. Rolling over to your right side now. Coming up to sitting. Namaste. In Shavasana, people, when you put your legs out to straight, if there's any tightness in your lower back, you can often alleviate that by putting a blanket rolled up under your thigh. Sometimes it's the neck that feels uncomfortable. When we lie flat on the floor, it feels like you have to squash the back of the neck to reach the floor. If that is the case in your body, take a pillow or a blanket under your head. So that we have the support underneath the body that we really need, that will nurture us. And then we try to find, as best we can, balance, given that we are not really symmetrical. But so there's an even feeling of the weight across the side to side of the body. The pelvis weighted evenly. The torso. Hmm. And then we give the nervous system the best opportunity to reset, process this new information in the body. To feel the flow of breath as deeply into the body as we can. Feel the feet rolling out from the ankles. The ankles from the legs. The legs from the hips. The movement of the abdomen with the breath. The resting position of the organs there. Feeling of the hip joint, the buttock muscles, and around the sacrum. Notice the sensation of the lower half body relax. Bring your attention to your lower back. Feel its weight. The middle back, between the shoulder blades. And from the spine supported, feel the ribs move with the breath. Notice the feeling of the organs within the rib cage. Feel the muscle between and beneath the collarbone. And the shoulders. Feel the upper arms rolling out from the shoulders. The elbows, the forearms rolling out. The hands. Notice the feeling of relaxed hands, fingers and thumbs. And the sensation of the neck, the throat. The base of the skull and the scalp. And the forehead. Around the eyebrows and the eyes. Around your nose and mouth. Lips and tongue. Aware of the sensation of the whole body. Relax. Breath by breath. Take a really deep breath. slowly moving the fingers and toes and hands and feet, arms and legs, and rolling to your right side. And then having a seat, on the floor, of course. Um, Hands in front of your heart, feeling the breath. And take the feeling of the practice with you. Namaste.